Good evening, everybody. It's a huge pop wrestling podcast. Welcome, fans from around the world. Let's get ready to feel the earth shake. Prepare to witness a competitor who brings a tornado of power and intensity to the ring. He's not just big, he's brolic. He's a force of nature, known to tossing opponents around like ragdolls. Get on your feet, huge pop wrestling fans and Xtreme Impact Wrestling fans. Get ready to make some noise and give a thunderous welcome to the Brolic Tyson Maddux. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How you're like the first person to kind of understand what it means and kind of get it. And when you say brolic, you kind of went along with it, like you understood what the meaning of it was. Most people they have no clue.
I looked up the definition, man. I was like, what the hell is brolic, And then I
Yeah,
watched your weightlifting and you running that sled down all your video on Facebook, and I'm like, that guy's a big son of a bitch, and he's powerful, and he brings it. He not only looks it, he lives it, and I was like, that's got to be in the title, man. So that's so.
yeah. Thank you for that introduction, man. That
No
was that
problem.
was that was like the best introduction I've gotten on the podcast because you did your homework. That's very very impressive.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, my wife and I are foster parents, and I do this wrestling podcast, and my research is my way of getting away from reality. I guess it's my self care moments, and I'll sit up till like 11:30 doing my research, and so yeah. So I thank you for that compliment, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
So for the fans that may not know, who is the Brolic Tyson Maddux?
Like you said in the intro, the Brolic Tyson Maddux is a true force of nature. Like the name says it all. Like I'm big, I'm fast, I'm strong. I'm something they probably never ever have seen live and up close. As far as someone of my size that can move the way that I move and can lift the way that I lift and the way everything just translates into the ring. I'm all about respect and if you don't respect me, I'm gonna take the respect.
There you go. So that's awesome. And I've seen you, like I said, videos. You are fast. You are strong. So what part of the football training and the track and field went into you being a professional wrestler?
Really just like the discipline and the athleticism and being able to like grasp and catch on to everything like quick with the pro wrestling training. I mean, as you can see, just like maybe I am a prime example on why the WWE is kind of gearing more towards athletes fresh out of college because we are as athletes we're already wired for criticism. We're wired to take instruction and direction, and you tell us to do it, and we'll go out there and we'll execute it right there. We may not have to keep doing it over and over and over to get it. As far as like the turnover rate, as far as perfecting the craft, it's a little bit easy. I mean, you can look at it from guys from Brock Lesnar, who's my favorite wrestler, Kurt Angle. They were guys that came in. They were athletes first, came in professional wrestling, and they just pretty much they caught on quick.
Yeah. So Brock Lesnar being I would say brolic as well is huge. Now, did you pop huge when when he was in that match when the ring flipped or whatever that did when
Over the Big Show.
yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times you just kind of when you're watching wrestling, you're just kind of just watching it. You're tuned in, you're zoned in, but it's kind of everything's just kind of going the same. Move here, and then all of a sudden, boom, that happened, and it was like, oh, like I can't say the word, but
Yeah,
yeah.
no. So was Tyson Maddux a huge fan as a kid growing up with wrestling? And if so, what were some of your favorites?
I've been, I could say this like if I can recall any vivid memory of me being a toddler, it had to be wrestling. Like I don't know what it was, but I can remember going to a Mid South show at like 2.5, 3 years old in Louisiana. That's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
And seeing the Rock and Roll Express and seeing, it was a guy named Lord Humongous who scared the hell out of me as a kid. Junkyard Dog. I remember seeing that at like I remember that like at 2.5, and just like always wrestling has been something that it's just been a part of my life. Like it was like my first memory, and just like I just been hooked ever since. And like I want to say, like from maybe about I was about 5 years old when it started to like kind of come on. I was able to understand that okay, it comes on this channel at this time. So really, just kind of going from catching it on a Saturday morning and catching it on the Saturday evening with WCW and WWF, and then going to it on Sunday with WWF All Stars on Sunday, WWF Live Wire on Saturday morning. Just don't really bounce between those two promotions at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is it like to travel and perform in different countries, especially traveling over to Japan and performing over there? What's that like?
It's a different environment, over there. Like, I guess you could say over there, like, I'm confident in my opponent that they're going to bring it. Like, I know they're trained. I know they're in shape. I know they're conditioned. I know it's like, I don't have to worry about as far as like being with the possibility of getting. I mean, we get hurt, but like sometimes on the independents in the States, you're getting the ring with a guy who's not trained, and over there, it's like they're real strict about their training as far as like the process to get in the ring and the process to have your first match.
Yeah, okay.
So
I did not know that.
yeah, so it's like I've been in, I've been there with a young boy where I saw the way he was brought up, and he's actually wrestling now, but I saw the process of how they moved him along, and it was like really totally like a respect thing. So it was like he was really, really trained up, and that's how like a lot of those guys are trained up out there now. So when they get to going as far as like working, some guys go different routes. A lot of those guys, they have those base routes. Some, they stick to traditional wrestling, and you have some that go the deathmatch route.
Yeah. All right. So, how would you describe your in-ring style, and what sets you apart, other than your size and quickness, from other independent wrestlers?
It would have to be my strategy, like my strategy at times. Like I really like the thing is about I really know how to utilize my strengths in the ring, and as far as like the weaknesses I do have, like I know them, but you won't know them. But you'll be so overwhelmed with what I'm bringing to you, like it would clog your mind up trying to find it out because you'd be too busy in defense mode.
All right. All right. So, what's your signature move? What should Malik Avalon anticipate as a signature move? You don't have to share that if you don't want to.
I mean, his best bet is just to stay out of my hand, stay out of my clutch, stay out of my hand. Okay. Like, stay away from me, because if I get my hands on you, you're going up and down. Like, ragdoll physics is a thing, and when he's going to experience ragdoll physics, you're going to see what ragdoll physics is and what it's all about. It's like, I tell everybody, they love professional wrestling, love to start off with a lockup. Do not lock up with me, because if you lock up with me, you're in my hands, I can get you, and I can shoot. Once I take that waist, there's no telling where you're going.
All right.
I mean, you either going on your back or your stomach. I mean, you can pick either or. And the thing about it is, though, like, you just got to let it happen. You can't stop it. You just let it happen. So and that's I want to say that's the demoralizing thing with guys when they get in the ring with me. It's like, you can't do anything about it.
So Malik Avalon's best bet is to stay the hell away from you.
He's going to have to try to stick and move. He's going to have to Muhammad Ali, the rope-a-dope, stick and move, run around and try to. But if he gets in my clutches, I mean, the one thing about me, I study my opponents. My opponents can study me, but sometimes I switch it up and I do bring something different. Like one thing, like I said, like lately since I've been back off injury, I've been showcasing more of my power. So I've been kind of keeping a lot of other things hidden. So you never know when I'm gonna bring it back out. You never know.
All right. All right.
And like I said, I did my research on him. I studied him, and I pretty much saw how on 2 separate occasions he was getting like, what's his name? Sal, Big Sal.
Yep, Big Sal.
Big Sal was just having his way with him, and if Big Sal can have his way with him, I'm definitely going to have my way with him.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Big Sal had his way with him, and then the snake in the grass, Jackson Slade, and John Saxon, and some boy called Suge White decided to get their nose involved in the whole situation.
Yeah, and for me, like I'm coming in, as far as like why Malik Avalon is my pick. He is the champion, and he needs a legit test. He's going to find out a lot about himself. I know he's been in the game for a long time, but he's really going to find out. He's really going to find out about his survival skills, or does he know how to survive? Does he know how to be a champion? Does he have it to take on all foes? Because the thing is, like, as far as I'm concerned, the only way he can beat me is to cheat me. That's the only way he'll be able to beat me. Or if someone else sticks their nose in our business. Hopefully, no one does that. Hopefully, Jackson, John Saxon, Suge White, they stay over there. Hopefully, everybody else stay over there and let us have our fair one. And, we'll be able to see who the better man is.
But if I have a feeling if they get involved, I don't think they're going to end up coming out of that in a very good situation, huh?
I mean, it's a term, saying on the football field. You hit everything that moves. I don't know if you're for me or against me. So you're in that ring, I got to hit you.
There you go. So, man, you're a huge guy. You're athletic as hell. You're very intense in your workouts. Has your look and persona changed any since you started in the business to now?
Yes, it has changed. It's changed a lot over the years. Like I've been wrestling about 7.5, 8 years, and I guess to get to this point, I want to say I'm at the final form point.
Okay.
Where it was like, I came into wrestling. I've always had like a pretty good look with me physique wise. So when I came in, I looked a certain way, and then I started to tweak it a little bit. I've tweaked it a few times, but I want to say it was a time where I decided to I actually went all the way down to like a cruiserweight.
Okay.
I shredded to like 199 pounds. And that was just to kind of, really, because one thing like I wanted to do, I really wanted to like hone in on my athleticism, like make it more clean while I was inside the ring. Because I was doing it at first, but it didn't look as fluid as it should. Okay. So what I did was like I lost weight, I trained, I started really diving into my old track workouts, my old football workouts, as far as running stadiums, agility moves, and then I gradually started to put weight back on, and then like all of a sudden here I am, the size that I am now. Yeah. So it's like there is different phases of Tyson Maddux over the years, as far as like you can see him, but something is like I'm probably one of the only guys who can pull an old promo picture and it fits. Like I still may look like that in some way, shape, or form. Whereas I'll see pictures of guys and I'll be like, he don't look like that no more.
Yeah. So you were brought into you were trained by disciples of Eddie Kowari, QT Marshall, Ricky Marvin, and Robert Gibson. So what is that like? There's some big names in that that got you along where you're at. What is it like? Are they still in your life? Do you still reach out to them and get hints?
Yeah, I reach out to QT, Michael Kowari. I reach out to him every now and then. He's a very busy man these days. He's like one of the top people in AEW.
Yeah.
And with Robert Gibson, he's retired, so I see him a lot on shows in Georgia, and he and we get to talk. As far as like Ricky Barvin, I haven't really talked to him in a while, but as far as like one of my good friends, his name Heedy Carey, he trained me also. He's like a submission specialist,
Okay.
catch wrestling specialist. He lives in Mexico. He's French. He lives in Mexico, and he's like phenomenal. And he and I, we talk ever so often. It's about once a month. We'll have a long conversation on, I guess, just kind of catching up on what we have going on, what he's doing, and what I'm doing, and everything like that. And as far as like my trainers and the guys I've trained with in Japan, we talk here and there.
Okay.
The best way we can.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. So what's been your toughest match to date, and how did that change your life and change you?
Want to say, I guess one of the toughest. Well, to me, to be honest, the toughest match I had was my first match back from injury.
Okay.
Because like that match there, like I was way more nervous in that match than I was my first match. And kind of going into it with like with a little uncertainty as far as like do I still remember how to do this? Because like I was pretty much out, not doing anything wrestling related, until I got cleared.
Okay.
And you can have matches in training, but training is completely different. When the live crowd becomes to effect, because not only you have to kind of change your motions and change the way you move, because you also have to entertain the crowd while still going through your match and your moves and everything. Well, I won't say move, going through your match. So it was like really tough trying to figure out, do I still know how to do this? And then in the back of my mind, am I still injured? Am I like, did I come back too soon? Or
Yeah.
like, and I actually, and the coming back too soon thing, that wasn't in the back of my head, because I did heal up pretty quick. As far as like, if I guess you could say almost for the normal person, and I've also talked to other wrestlers who had the same injury as me, and it took them like 10 months to a year to come back. I had surgery in November. I had my first match back April 5th. So it was like really like it was like 5 months that I was back. So and with that there, like I really pushed myself during my rehab process to come back early.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just because like I'm a competitor. So if you say it's this, I'm gonna try to do this to beat it.
Okay.
And so with all that being said, just really just the whole process of like, did I come, like, just wondering, like, am I going to get hurt this match? And if I get hurt this match, I'm done for good. So right. I went to my first match back. Like I was like, I've never been scared before a match, but I was kind of scared.
So was it just this last April?
Just this last April, yeah.
Wow. So you're fresh off an injury and you're feeling good?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it just happened where it was time, time. It was just, I had to get back into the groove of things or whatever. And once you get back into the groove in it, the confidence started coming back. It's just like riding a bike in muscle memory.
All right.
It was, everything was back to normal.
Awesome. So on that, I got to ask, on that promo you cut for me, how much is on that bar? That looked like a shit ton.
Oh, that's 405.
Okay. What's the heaviest you can lift?
I haven't really tried yet. Like, I mean, like clean, I did 450 for 2 reps.
Okay.
And it's like right now, I guess like when it comes to lift, I guess with the whole lifting thing, like my elbow has been acting a little crazy. So like I've been like lifting for the past 3 weeks, like with pain in my left elbow, but the thing about it is not anything joint related. It's just like if I pick up a lot of weight, I start to feel it.
All right.
Like once I get over to like the 300-pound mark, I start to feel it. Like as far as like lifting.
All right. So you've been in Japan, you've been in Mexico, you've been in the United States. What promotion or city brings the loudest reaction when Brolic Tyson Maddux walks through that curtain?
Well, lately, I guess like whenever I do go home to Louisiana to get to wrestle, like that's when I get like a loud reaction because like a lot of times they haven't seen me in like years.
Mm-hmm.
So like when it's like when I come back they remember, but it's like I'm like a new person. But I want to say it was kind of like last week. Uh, it's a promotion of Premier All Star
Okay.
Wrestling that I wrestle in Buchanan, Georgia, and like I've been like a pretty much a mainstay there for like the past like year and a half, and I made my return there last week. And the thing about it was a surprise.
Okay.
And I know it's kind of hard to do surprises in wrestling and indie wrestling alone, but it really kept a surprise. Like I showed up, I didn't go out in the crowd. I literally just stayed in the back until it was time for me to come. Until it was time for me to make my entrance. And when I made my entrance, like they really popped loud because they hadn't seen me in a while. They didn't know I was. Some of them didn't know I was injured. They didn't know what happened. So it was like when I came back, and I kind of came back, and I was against someone who I was feuding with before I got injured. So it was like that was probably one of the biggest reactions I've gotten in a long time.
All right. So, are you a face or a heel? What do you like best?
I just like to be me, and however the
Okay.
fans take me, that's how they take me. It depends on what the goal is. I don't. I'm not. I'm not opposed to taking down their hero.
All right.
I'm not
Okay.
opposed to do that.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not
Fair enough.
like I'm not a, like if it's a bad if it's one of their heels, he need a lesson learned. I'm the guy to call. If one of their heroes need to be taken down a notch, I'm the guy to call. So it doesn't matter.
All right.
Anybody can get it.
All right.
Anybody.
So, when you're in front of the crowd, when you're in front of XIW crowd on tomorrow night, what message do you want us to hear? What message do you want us to get from the Brolic Tyson Maddux?
That I'm legit and everything that you see is real.
Okay.
There's nothing fake about it. There's nothing to work about it. Everything you see is real. It's me out there.
Okay.
It's like I'm not. This is not a character.
All right. So in 2020, you had an opportunity to appear in AEW. You teamed up with Sean Dane in AEW Dark to face the Dark Order, and you guys lost. But what was that experience like to be in the AEW ring and get that opportunity?
Well, that was like I guess you could say like my first time really being in that type of realm. So I guess at that point in time I was a little nervous on like I guess I didn't do what I normally would do because it's like I was so afraid of I don't want to hit him too hard or something like that.
Yeah.
But now it's like my mindset now was like, I'm going out there and steamroll whoever they put in front of me. Like I'm going out there and I'm being who I am. So it was like that time there, it was like it was cold. It was very cold out there. It
All
was
right.
it was at Daly's place. It was cold
Yeah. Yeah.
and I guess it's like, my first time doing it, I was so focused on trying to do everything right. And when I went back and looked at the match, I made a lot of rookie mistakes in that match. And this
Okay.
mistake that I wouldn't, if given the opportunity to do it all over again, like it'll be a completely different. You'll really, really, really get to see a different. The person that they're going to see on tomorrow will be the person that they see on AEW TV or whatever. If that opportunity was to be granted to me again, but like I said, a lot more power, a lot more explosiveness, and just like with a lot more presence.
Okay. Now, should we plan on seeing the Brolic in AEW or TNA or WWE?
I mean, if like that's the goal. So I'm pretty much, like I said, I'm just working hard. Hopefully to really get. I mean, obviously they know who I am. Like I've been to the Performance Center before. I had a WWE trial before in 2021.
Yeah.
I've never done any work for like TNA. I like I said, they know who I am. It's up to me to do my end of the deal and put out great content for them to see that I'm someone that can be an asset to their roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've watched some of your matches, and there's a notable match that I watched against another big guy, Lamar Phillips.
Yeah,
The last man standing match. That was a sick match. That looked like you guys put each other through hell. Can you talk about Lamar and fighting him?
that's been the thorn in my side in Georgia Premier All Stars for the past year.
Okay.
And on July 19th, hopefully I finally get to. Well, I thought it was over last week when I beat him. Finally, we finally had a one-on-one match. There was nothing, no shenanigans. I beat him 1, 2, 3, and his little crew came and jumped me.
Okay.
So now I have to take care of that on July 19th. But fighting I guess it's like fighting him is like, I wouldn't say I'm getting overwhelmed with it, but I'm getting
Tired of it?
yeah, I'm getting tired of it. And it's like I should have put the nail in the coffin a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that's my fault. That's my fault. My mindset was completely different.
All right. So it sounds like you're on the right mindset, and on July 19th, it's game over.
It's game over for him and his little crew. I don't know what they're called, the lethal games or whatever.
All right. So Lamar Phillips, I'll tag you in this when I post the clip. Your day is numbered, July 19th. The Brolic Tyson Maddux is going to clean your clock and take care of your crew with you. So bye-bye for now, right? I've never heard of this, so that's why I'm asking this. Change 3. Can you talk about it's the 4-way match? Can you talk about that? I watched a little bit, but
well, yeah, Change 3. What it is, it's a promotion in Georgia where they highlight the African American wrestlers around the area.
okay.
They run a show in February for Black History Month, and they run a show around Juneteenth.
Okay.
I wrestled at Change 1. I wrestled the first show. I wrestled a guy named CT Keys. On that show there, they had the return of Patrick Clark. He had his first, I think it was his first match back on his independent run, but I don't know what he's doing now. But at Change 2, I was injured, and I was supposed to wrestle JTG.
Okay.
And that went to Carly Bravo of AEW and the Infantry. He came in and took my spot. And so this match here was about me making my comeback, me coming back from my main event spot. I faced Skrilla the Great, a guy who I've been in the ring with over the years in the past. A guy named Chad Skywalker, who when I first moved to Georgia, he and I we tagged together one time. And it also included WWE ID prospect Cappuccino Jones.
Okay.
And so it's like with that match there, it's like going into it, I already knew what was going on. Like I've been in since I've been back, I've been in 3 fatal 4-way matches, and in all, and the other 2 that I was in, they all tried to jump the big guy.
Uh-oh.
And I was too busy fighting them off in the beginning. But this time I came with a new strategy, which was to, get them before they got me. And so we're using that strategy as far as, instead of trying to fight one at a time, it was more or less get rid of one and get rid of the other and get rid of the other. So that way they couldn't team up on me. And I actually had the chance to come out with the win in this fatal four-way. With all the other fatal four-ways, the numbers kind of got the best of me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you suffered the patella tendon to injury. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. I had a full patella tendon rupture in my left knee, and I had a grade 1 MCL tear.
Okay. So has that been the biggest challenge you've faced in wrestling journey?
Yeah, it really was, because like with that injury there, after the injury, like whenever, I guess you could say, whenever the second, well, I'm gonna say the third day, when like the swelling went down, and like when the swelling went down, it locked everything in place. Like I literally couldn't sit down and lift my leg up. I couldn't bend my knee. Like I physically couldn't do it. Like I couldn't, like only way I could do it is if I manually pick my leg up and bent my knee, or if I just manually pick my leg up on its own. So like kind of just going from that and having surgery and having to regain mobility, learn how to walk. Hopefully I'm not walking and I develop a limp.
Right.
Then coming back and strengthening the leg, because I can say all the years of track football building those legs, I had one that it went all the way back to 0.
All right.
and just being able, and now it's like, I mean, you saw the last man standing match with Lamar Phillips. You saw, like, I ran and I jumped to the top rope and suplexed him off.
Yeah.
Like I was doing things like that at my size, and it's like, trying to be able to get back to doing that.
Wow.
Like that's the big challenge,
Yeah.
As for coming from not being able to really use that leg at all. Like it was just like there. All thing I could do was calf raises. I couldn't bend it, couldn't lift it. Yeah,
You talk about jumping off the top rope. Are you like? I mean, this guy impresses the hell out of me. Jacob Fatu jumps on the second rope, jumps on the third rope, and does that flip. Bronson Reed, a big dude again, jumping off the ropes. Is that what you do too?
Nah, I did it more like Shelton Benjamin.
All right. Okay. All right.
Like it was running, jumping. Like I would jump to the top turnbuckle.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of guys they would step up, like Brian Breaker.
Yeah.
He would run up and step up. No, I would run and just jump to the top.
Wow.
Like Shelton, yeah. So like that was a move that I did that Shelton Benjamin used to do.
Yeah.
And I was doing it too. Like there were some guys that were doing it, but as for them being my size and doing it, there wasn't really no one in professional wrestling doing that. Like at the time, I was 255 pounds and I'm only 5'10".
Okay. All right.
And jumping that high, it was like that was something that
Yeah.
I know for a fact, like athletically, that's why I always felt like I was the most pure athletic wrestler just in the world, just on the strength of that.
Okay. So in my research, I've seen some quotes that in 2022, you said you've been laying low, peeked your head back up. What were you working on when you told everybody you were going to lay low?
Yeah, and what year?
2022.
That was when 2022. That's when I started to kind of go through the process of cutting weight.
Okay. All right. Okay. That makes sense. Based on your experience, what advice would you have as you walk into a locker room like XIW or even in another promotion in Louisiana, wherever you go, if you see guys that are just starting out, what would you give them as far as advice?
Like it's really just, do it your way. that'd be my best advice. Like, and you're gonna have to understand that your journey and the next person's journey is two different journeys.
Okay.
I used to have. I'm pretty sure we all have. I used to get caught up in this. It would be guys. Like I felt that I brought more to the table than what they did,
Yeah.
and they're getting the opportunities, and I'm not. And, I would always feel some type of way about that. But then, like, you know, during the time during my injury, I had to sit back. Like, I did a lot of self evaluation and a lot of self maintenance on myself and my mental state. So it was just like, not everybody's journey is the same.
Okay.
It may take you a little bit longer to get there than what they are. You can't base your journey off theirs. They may get it overnight. You may not get it overnight. It may take you multiple nights,
Right.
to get it. But you just have to stay the course and stay true to yourself, and just really just keep working and keep evolving. Like never put yourself in a box. And
Okay.
there's always like if there's something that you want to add to your game, you can always add it to it. You just have to put in that extra work in order to make it happen. And that's pretty much what I've done. Like as far as like when I wanted to change something about what I'm doing in the ring, I put in the work to make myself capable enough to do it.
Okay. So in the wrestling business and especially in the wrestling industry itself, bet on yourself. What's that mean to you?
Like I said, betting on yourself is like, I guess when most people say betting on yourself, they say it in the term as like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna take this opportunity. I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing, and something's bigger gonna come along. That's typically what they mean by betting on yourself.
Okay. All right.
And I guess for me, betting on myself, it would have to be just like basically going out there, like I said, going out there and doing it my way.
Okay.
I mean, you bet on yourself every day. In professional wrestling, you're betting on yourself every night.
Okay.
So you're going out there, you're betting on yourself that you're going to perform. Like that's typically how I see it. I'm
Okay.
betting on myself that I'm going to perform to the top of my ability.
All right. So what legacy do you want Brolic Tyson Maddux to leave on pro wrestling?
Just to there's nothing wrong with building your own table. You don't necessarily need validation from everyone else to make yourself feel validated.
Okay.
Self worth. Like I said, just being able to, when you go out there and when it's all said and done, I just want you have to give it your all. So basically, just like knowing that I gave it my all, whatever the cards I was dealt, I played the best hand that I played it, and I made the most. I made the most out of it. Like we're all chasing an imaginary dragon, which
Yeah.
is everyone wants to get a contract. And sometimes a contract in the WWE or the AEW that may not be in the cards, but there are other ways to build your legacy.
Right.
So that means going overseas, going to Japan, doing things of that nature. It's just like build your own table. Don't be afraid to build your own table. And
Okay.
when you build that, excuse me, and when you build that table, they're gonna want to come have a seat at it.
All right. So are there any promotions and young talent or talent on your radar for the rest of 2025?
Uh it's it's a lot. It's a lot that that kind of I come across them, and I pay attention to them, and I see them again. But as far as like as far as like young guys, there's a guy in North Carolina that I guess you could say I took a kind of a liking to, because like I see a lot of myself when I first started in him. It's a guy named Blade Brown,
Okay.
and he's actually coming off a pec tear, so he's kind of in that rehab stage of coming back. He's a young guy to look out for. Like he has the tools. He just has to he has the tools. He's learning how to use them.
Okay. So what I do, one part of the things I do when I do my research, I reach out to people that are on your friends list or whatever. And I had one guy that sent me back, Phoenix Lucha Libre.
Yeah.
So he has some questions. So, what are you most looking forward to about the Phoenix Lucha Libre event, July 5th?
Really, just being in Houston. Like I love Houston is one of my favorite cities. I'm from Louisiana, born and raised. But when I'm from Louisiana, it's about 2 hours from Houston. I'm an Astros fan. I'm a Texans fan, and that's an opportunity to where like a lot of my friends and family, they can come see me wrestle.
Okay.
And really, and just like really just being like that's from what I'm seeing on the card, it's a big show, it's a big event. They have some good names on there, so it's like it's gonna be I love the lucha crowd. I've done a lot of lucha shows in my career, so it's like I love the lucha crowd, the Hispanic crowd, because they're predominantly Hispanic,
Okay.
and they're very very passionate about their wrestling, or
Okay.
lucha libre if you want to call it that. And just being able to be around, just to be in that type of energy and in that space. Once again, it brings out for the most times it brings out a different side. It brings out like a different level with the energy that they put out.
Okay. So, Lucha Libre, from what I've experienced, is a little bit different style of wrestling than it is in the States or regular pro wrestling. What do you do to adapt your style, or doesn't your style change?
My style doesn't change because I guess the thing that most people like, I guess with going and spending time in Mexico and actually wrestling there and wrestling a few lucha shows in Georgia and being on shows with like being in the ring with Cibernetico, being in the ring with Blue Demon Jr., Atlantis, Blue Panther, some of those guys. I guess you kind of learn there's different styles and matches in when it comes to a lucha card, because you have the luchadors when they do the you got the flippy stuff and the hurricane rounders and the arm drags and the extravagant things like that, and then you have the brawling when you're just brawling, you're fighting, it's chaos, you're fighting in the crowd, and that's typically that's typically where I fit in it, as far as like not having to change my style and being able to give like to work a lucha crowd and being able to have the type of match that that they want to see.
Okay.
I mean, because like typically that's typically what we're doing. Like we're pretty much fighting the whole time, and they love it because like when I went to I guess when I went to Mexico. I had my mind set on one thing, but when I actually got in the match, we were brawling all in the crowd, hitting each other with trash cans and just brawling, chopping and punching and kicking and throwing each other into certain things, and the crowd was going nuts.
Wow.
And so I'm like, hold on, so I don't have to do all this twisting and turning and all dragging and all of this here. Okay, I like this. I like this.
Right. So, is there any more bigger of a pressure to perform in front of that kind of crowd, or compared to performing against that in the XIW crowd?
Like I adapt very well. Once I see, like once I figure out the type of crowd it is, it's easy for me to adapt and get them kind of moving the way I want them to move.
Okay. Another guy reached out. I didn't really put his name on the paper, but this guy wants to know, when will you come back to Japan, and which promotions will you join next?
Right now, that's kind of up in the air. As far as me going back to Japan, I'm currently working on that. I guess you could say I have my sights on. I have my sights on a few promotions up there. Is like I like what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to move closer to the top of the. I guess you could say the top of the upper echelon of companies there.
Okay.
And it's I guess it's a bit of a process, especially with me being out for so long and being like out of the loop on everything. I've been having some conversations with a few promotions and just like I guess just trying to work something out whenever they would like to whenever they like to try to bring me in or whatever.
Okay. I skipped over the fans connection part, so I'm gonna go back to fans. So, has there been any wild, crazy fan interactions in any of your matches?
Not I guess you could say not wild as in like as in hostile or anything, like borderline like wanting to like borderline starting a riot or anything, but I've had a lady storm the ring. It was I was doing a lucha show, and I was a rudo, a bad guy,
Okay.
and I want to say I was doing the Shawn Michaels thing with the Mexican flag and and doing all of that stuff, and she crossed the line, and she got very close to the ring.
All right.
That's probably that. But like I said, that crowd is very passionate about their wrestling, so it's like you typically get more of that, in your matches. But they get sucked into that, to the suspicion of disbelief for that little moment. But immediately, it's like when the show's over, they want to take pictures. They're back to being, just a normal fan. If I guess I get a good reaction from women in the crowd also.
Okay. Do you have any one or two, I call it road stories or rib stories?
I have like I have one good rib story, and what's funny was I got a chance to I videoed it. It wasn't me.
Okay.
It was what's his name? It was I was in Big Japan. It was Daichi Hashimoto, which is Shinya Hashimoto. He was a part of the Four Pillars.
Okay.
It was Muda, Masachono, Shinya Hashimoto, and I can't think of the. I want to say it was Hiroshi Hase who was the next one. I may be wrong, or I may be wrong.
Okay.
Or was it Basawa? I don't know. Whoever's a Japanese wrestling expert, they'll probably correct me, but I think I got 3 of the 4 of them correct. It was his son, and he took. I think it was the referee, and we had a freezer where we were dressing. So he literally took his pants and wet them and sprayed them down and stuck them in the freezer.
Oh no.
and they pretty much froze. So that was like,
All right. So, have you ever done any tag team work? And if so, what would be your dream tag team partner?
well, I guess you could say right now, if I could pick, I guess you could say a dream tag team partner right now that would it would be someone current, and I feel like he and I would make a lot of money, We would destroy a lot of tag teams. Me and Will Hobbs.
Okay. Yeah. That's a
Me,
big
well,
boy.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Me and Powerhouse Hobbs
That's a big boy too.
as a tag team.
That, all right. I would not want to. I would not want to be a tag team against you guys. That's for sure. So, a couple funny questions. These are stupid questions. My kids, my older kids, that I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old. Why they'd ask this, I don't know. What hurts more, a chair shot or stepping on Legos?
I'll say stepping on Legos.
Okay. Have you ever went to the drive-through and ordered your food in a promo voice?
I haven't done that. I haven't done that yet.
All right. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Pineapple doesn't. No, it doesn't.
All right, that's their question. So let's focus on let's wrap it up with
Actually,
XIW.
like if pineapple's on, if I see pineapple on pizza, I'll literally take the pineapple off and eat the pineapple, and then eat the pizza.
All right, there you go. So you're going into XIW, your first time at XIW. You're focused on your opponent, Malik Avalon, and you already told me what you're going to do to Malik Avalon. And Malik Avalon better be prepared because if he locks up with you, he's done. A hashtag for Xtreme Impact Wrestling XIW is real fight shit. Should we as fans expect some real fight shit from Tyson Maddux?
Everything I do is real fight shit. Everything that I do is what you would expect a person like me to do to another person.
Okay. So now your goal is going after the title that Malik Avalon has. That's the main goal. Does that mean your goal is to hopefully be involved in an XIW show at a later date?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say, like I said, like I guess you could say, like right now, for me, is not about. It's not about the title right now. Malik Avalon is the top dog in XIW, correct?
Yes.
So when you go to a new place, you go to a new school, you go to that top dog, and what you do? You bust him in the mouth.
Yep, take him out.
So this is my bust in the mouth. Basically gonna bust him in the mouth to let him know that I'm here. And to let him know that whenever I want, snapping my fingers, I can take it from him if I want to.
Okay.
So basically, just to put fear in his heart.
All right.
That's all. That's all. That's my sole purpose, to put that fear in his heart.
All right.
So when I do come back, he'll understand that he's not the biggest dog out there.
Okay.
Then whenever I step in the room, no matter where it is, I'm the top dog. He's a placeholder. He's a propped up champion.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wouldn't agree more. One of the biggest, one of the legends of the company is Damian Wayne. Have you ever heard of that guy?
I've heard of Damian Wayne. Very respected. Very respected in my book. I met him one time.
Yeah.
Like he drops a lot of like, I guess you say with me being like older and getting into wrestling older, I kind of was brought up a little bit different, and he gives a lot of advice, but he gives it to you raw and uncut. And a lot of today's generation, I don't think they take his advice how they should take it. Like I scroll through social media a lot, but it's a lot of people. I don't read what they post, okay. But whenever Damian Wayne posts something, I read it. because I know he's putting some type of gem in there. He's dropping something in there that's gonna help, that's gonna help me, along the way.
Yeah.
It may not gonna help me like tomorrow, or like what I'm about tomorrow. Like I may see it. It may not help me in my next match right then and there.
Yeah.
But I know if I go back to it, it'll be something that I need for like down the line. So it's like whenever he speaks, I listen.
Now, do you think that is a lost gem in the locker room of younger talent today, that they don't listen?
100%. 100%. You like, I'm pretty sure you've seen where guys were like, guys that are under contracts in places where they don't take advice from the older guys, or they have a lot of guys there with a wealth of knowledge that'll help them succeed, and they don't utilize them. Mind you, like I said, I came from a different, like I said, I was an athlete first before I got a professional wrestling. Right. So it's like, if you have someone who's been there, done that at your disposal, you try to get as much out of them as you can. Like you can't put me in a locker room with a Dustin Rhodes, Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson at the time, or any. You can't put me in a locker room with them. You know why? Because they're gonna get annoyed with me.
Okay.
I wish he's asking all these damn questions. He want to know this. He want to know that.
Yeah.
Like that's me. Like that's me, and like I take it back to sports. Like when you look at the relationship between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Right.
Michael Jordan said Kobe Bryant was that annoying little brother who wanted to know everything.
Yeah.
And like that's how I am. Like
okay.
I'm a sponge now. I don't know everything. I don't know everything about it. Like you can never know everything about wrestling. And it's always something like someone else can see, and they're some of the greatest minds in the business. And like we look at like someone like Dustin Rhodes, hell, Dustin is realistically, he's the last one of my era.
Okay.
He's really the last one of all our eras when you think about it.
True. You're right.
He's the last one that's still ticking and still going at a high level. He's the very last one.
Well, yeah. Can't argue that. I can't. So we're reaching the hour mark. I don't want to take any more of your time because I know you got to get some rest. You got another hour and a half drive tomorrow to come to XIW and take over Malik Avalon and all that stuff. But I'm going to ask one last question or one last thing of you, and then I'm going to play some exit music. And please don't go anywhere. I'd like to say goodbye off camera. So,
all right.
My last question. Can you cut a quick promo right now? Why should fans remember the name Brolic Tyson Maddux? Go.
Well, see, the name, the Brolic it's a lifestyle. It's a way of living. Anybody can be Brolic. You just have to put the work in, put the time in, and put the dedication in, and you'll truly understand about what it means to be Brolic. Being Brolic means that you're above the rest. And the thing is, you have a massive heart. And with that massive heart, massive determination. And through all of that, anything that you want to do is possible for you as long as you believe in yourself.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, people from the Huge Pop Wrestling Fans, wrestling fans. Thank you for joining us between the ropes with the Brolic Tyson Maddux. Man, I cannot wait for that main event or whatever match that is on tomorrow's card at XIW, Xtreme Impact Wrestling, to see you get your hands on Malik Avalon. It will be live on Facebook or on TikTok tomorrow via Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Be fans, tune in. You'll see it. Again, thank you, Tyson Maddux. As always, here at HBWP, we're for life.